How are you doing today? How is your world? What's new? It's me, Jody Ann. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad to be here with you in your earbuds, keeping you company with whatever it is you're doing today. A little bit of news and housekeeping before we dive into our topic today. I want to thank you all. Our audience is growing, and I just want to thank everyone who is subscribed. I want to thank you so much for downloading, for listening, for spending time with me. I'm really excited about the growth we've seen on the podcast. It makes me so happy. I want to invite you all to head over to my website, jodyanpsychicmedium.com, and subscribe to my monthly love letter. It comes out once a month, usually the first week of the month it comes out. It's just going to give you a heads up on YouTubes that are coming out and what the topics of the podcast are. It's really low volume and it's high consent. I'm not going to inundate your inbox with a bunch of marketing. I'll always check and see if you want to receive marketing emails before I send any out. You can always opt out of marketing while still staying on the love letter list. And I want to extend an invitation to you to join the free monthly new moon circles. We are seeing so much beautiful development and connection happening in this monthly circle. You need to sign up and register for it because it's live and private. We're not really recording them or sending them out at this time. It's a be there or be square kind of thing. It's a very powerful manifestation circle, and I would really love to see you there. If you're working on your healing, your development, if you've got a goal in mind for this spring, this is the place to be, my lovey. Join our coven. Come circle with us. Powerful stuff. Today, what we're going to talk about is, well, I'll tell you a little story about why this is our topic today. So I have been reorganizing my house. I got a new piece of furniture a little bit ago. This is a meandering story, so bear with me. And because I'm moving stuff around and reorganizing, I moved my altar. I made it bigger. So that kind of started this cascade of I was looking at, what crystals are on my altar and what crystals can I add? And, look, there's a perfect drawer here that I can keep my candles in. And then I started looking at all the different spell crafting supplies and crystals and herbs and things I had kind of in different areas of the house. And I wanted to amalgamate them and put them all near the altar. And I wanted to look at what I'm using and what I'm not using and change things up. So this spring is this like massive reorganizing purge for me. And it's a bit overwhelming. I'm like trucking through it. And that's where our topic came from, is I started looking at what do I have on my altar? What is always on my altar? What can I take off? What am I not using? What have I outgrown? And I thought, oh my gosh, we need to talk about this with the Earbud Coven. Not just about what we have on our altars, but what we have on hand in our spell kit. What do we have in our witch box, in our kit? In our basket that we keep our practitioners' supplies in? What are essential? What are fun? And what we do and do not have anymore. So it's kind of like a weird topic. I don't really know what I'm going to call this episode. I think it's going to be a witch's cupboard. I don't know. And fair warning, this episode might be a little rambly and like more rambly than usual. And it might be full of some of my emotional processing. I'm finding as I shift through things in my house and in my space that I am really in need of letting go of some stuff because there's some big transformations happening. Let me put that into context for you, because I'm not talking about emotionally releasing. I have been doing that. I've been like waist deep in the waters of healing for quite some time. And that is why it's rippling out into the material world now. As I was sorting through things in my house, I started noticing, I'm not really making soap anymore, not regularly and not for sale. I don't know if you guys know this. I know some of you do know this. I ran a company, Sprite Made Soaps, where I would craft self-care products, ritual bath products, soap, bath salts, different things, and I would sell them at psychic fairs. I haven't been doing that for a while. So I have a lot of beautiful botanicals and oils readily available, taking up really prime real estate on my witchcraft shelf that could be put into a different area of the house to make room for what I'm doing more of right now. What I have been doing is a lot of candle magic. I've really been working with candle magic and moon phases, and that's what's really sparking my creativity and my spell making and lighting me up lately. I just haven't been called to my cauldron. The essentials that I need for my spell crafting are different right now than they were like 18 months ago or 2 years ago. My focus has shifted, and that's where this topic is coming from. What is essential? What do we always need or is wonderful to have, no matter what kind of spell work we're doing? And what is extra? What are cool, awesome things that are great to have and not necessarily essential? So let's define what I mean when I say your witch's kit. So I'm a witch for hire. I go to people's houses to clear them. I will go and do healings for people. I also run circles and teach development classes outside of my home. My witch's kit is what I would take to do those things. It's also what I'll take when I'm meeting my coven at one of their houses instead of at my house. It's going to include the essentials I need for basic spell work, basic ritual, and sometimes not so basic spell work and not so basic ritual, because you never can tell what's going to come forward when you're going to a house to do a healing or a clearing. So you need to be prepared and you need to have certain things on hand. So what do I find essential to have in my witch kit? Well, candles. I always have little tea lights or penny lights. I always have those on hand. I love them. I take them with me to clients' houses. They are pretty safe to burn. They will usually put themselves out. They don't get too hot. It's important to have them on like a plate or a candle holder or something. I like to have salt. I really like to have salt on my altar at all times. I have even a few times taken actual seawater and boiled it down into ritual salt. I haven't done that in a while. It doesn't yield a lot of salt and it takes all day long to do it. It is fun to try. I like to have an Epsom salt or a Dead Sea salt. I use it for purification. I love using it in house clearing. When I'm clearing a space, I find that salt is a wonderful tool for that. It also represents the earth element. So you can have it as a representation of earth element on your altar when you're building an altar space and creating a circle. I have a couple of crystals that I've been working with for many, many, many years. They're little batteries. I keep them charged. They have been what I hold and use when I channel, when I clear. They've come to every big celebration with me. I've put them on community altars. I've put them on ritual altars when I've celebrated with covens and groups. They're my two favorite crystals. I typically have them in my witch's kit. I always have a spray, like an aura spray or an energy spray. I always have one of those on my altar space in my kit when I go somewhere. The one I'm using now is from the beautiful Reverend Terry, the founder of Beau Magique. I love her spray. It's so beautiful. She has been a guest on the podcast. These are such a wonderful tool. You use them to spray your own aura. You can use them to help a friend clear. You can clear a space before you teach a class, just to make sure everything is grounded and chill. I just highly recommend an aura spray. They're wonderful. I used to always carry a chime, but I've upgraded that to a beautiful little bowl my daughter got me when she was in Thailand. It's the tiniest singing bowl, and it fits right in the palm of my hand. It has a very high, clear note. It's really great for clearing space, for neutralizing energy or uplifting energy. I like to bring a blend of smoking herbs that you can use to clear. I have a blend I use at home, and when I go to a client's house, I tend to take some of that blend with me. I'll also bring an assortment of crystals, more grounding crystals, rose quartz, things that you can hand to a client to give them to hang on to so that they can feel secure and safe when you're doing work with them and in their home, something for them to focus on and help them ground. And that can be really helpful when you're doing clearing work. Oh, and a lighter. Put a lighter in your kit. It's funny to me, I learned to always carry a lighter because I would go to a client's house, I'd go to do a reading, I'd bring out a candle and my tarot cards, and they wouldn't have a lighter to light my candle, or they wouldn't be able to find matches. So bring your own lighter, bring your own matches. Great essential to have in your kit. And I just remembered tarot cards. I always bring tarot cards. Most places I go, I bring a deck of tarot cards. Even when I travel somewhere and I'm not expected to do a reading or whatever, I usually bring tarot cards. And funny enough, I went to a wedding a few weeks ago and I did not bring a deck. I was on one of those super economy flights where all you were allowed is one small backpack. And by the time I put my outfit and a change of shoes, I didn't really have space to shove in a tarot deck. And two people that I love asked me where my cards were. And I was like, oh my goodness, I did not bring any. I didn't bring any to read today. It was kind of funny. So I'm going to have to remind myself next time I travel to bring my tiny tarot deck if I have to just shove one in. So that's like a kit to take with you, right? Those are the essentials I would take. Now you're always going to mix in whatever you need, odds and ends that will fit with the spell work you're doing or the festival you're going to or whatever you're traveling to with your witch kit. Those are my essentials. I like to have a candle, a penny light candle, something to light that candle with, salt, an aura spray, my crystals that I work with regularly, a deck of tarot cards, my little singing bowl to clear the space when I'm done. Some extras that are great are to have some anointing oils, to have smudging herbs or smoking herbs with you, a crystal or token for your client to hold on to. Kleenex is good. It's good to have Kleenex in your kit. That's always good to have. Yeah, those would be kind of the essentials, I think. Anything else that you have in your kit would be very specific to whatever job you're doing, whatever ceremony you're going to. It's wonderful if you're going to ceremony to bring an offering that you can leave and give to the altar. That's always lovely. A lot of times I bring flowers. I like bringing flowers. So yeah, that's my witch's kit. Now, what about at home? What about our altars? What do you think would be essential on your altar? Do you want to know what I have on my altar? What I find essential on my altar? I have an altar candle, always, and I move it around my house, actually. I'll get a beautiful pillar candle, and it always sits on the same candle holder. I think I've had that candle holder for gosh, more than 15 years. And so that's what I put each altar candle on. It moves around the house with me. You know, when I do readings for you guys on YouTube, my altar candle's nearby. When I'm doing spell work on the kitchen table, my altar candle's nearby. So that little candle moves around with me. What else is on my altar? I have 2 crystals that are essential. I always have my crystals on there, my working crystals. They're always on there. I feel they're being charged by being on my altar. As we go into spring, and because my altar space just got bigger, I will probably keep fresh flowers on my altar regularly. I've been waiting to get some and find some and put them on there. Because my altar at home is much more permanent, I have some things on there that are specific to my ancestors. I have a space laid out just for ancestor items, and I have an offering cup there for them. I don't have some of the things you would expect. I do not have an athame on my altar. I no longer use one. The last 3 I had broke. I had an athame I used for years. It's beautiful. I loved it. It was a wonderful tool, and it broke one day during a house clearing when I was getting rid of something particularly nasty in somebody's home. I got a replacement. It took me some time to find a replacement, and I had a replacement for about a year, and then it broke during a particular ritual. This was during a time when I was making a lot of soap, so I was chopping a lot of things, I was cutting a lot of things, and I was using things from my kitchen regularly. And it just so happens that I haven't found another athame that feels right. So I have stopped using a ritual knife. I have gotten to a place where every knife in my kitchen can be used for magic, that it's not about the tool, it's about the intention that is wielding it. And that's fine. If you have an athame, I'm not trying to say you don't need an athame. I loved using my athames. I think they're beautiful. I love the idea of specific ritual tools. Using them with reverence, using them with care, it creates this beauty to them, like fine china. You're not going to use it for just anything, or like your favorite coffee mug. Every time you sip your tea out of it or your morning coffee out of it, it's like getting a hug. So I get that. I just don't have an athame anymore. I do have a ritual cup that I have on my altar. It's decorative. I've never used it for anything other than decoration. It was a beautiful gift given to me. I have a disc on my altar. So I do have the traditional tools. I have a space set up for offerings, and I have a space, specific spaces where I have active spells working on my altar. I do have candles. What's interesting is I don't have any statues of my patron goddesses on my altar. I have tiny statues of my power animals, and I have trinkets, little important things that I feel kind of protective about, and I don't want to say here, but I do have little trinkets and protective things, but I do not have statues of my patron goddesses. I just don't think it's my style. Yeah, I don't think it's my style. I feel like I love when I go to friends' homes and they have these lovely iconographies and statues and just beautiful little pieces of art. I'm just not called to it. Isn't that interesting? I'm interested to know what you find essential. What do you have on your altar that you could just not do without? What are your essentials when you go places and are doing work for your friends, your loved ones, or meeting with your coven sisters? What is your favorite thing to bring? I would love to know. You know how to reach me. I'm on Instagram at The Witching Half Hour or so. you can always leave me a note in the show notes. You can respond to this episode. They'll be found at jodiannepsychicmedium.com. I think I have rambled enough. This is really rambly. It's kind of a random episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me in your earbuds, my dear coven member. Okay, bye now. Oh, I just moved and my mic changed. Oh, whoa. A witch's cupboard? I don't know. Maybe I'll post something on Instagram to come up with it. Okay. Oh, I guess I'm going to back up. I think I have to define a witch's kit before I tell you what's in my witch's kit. Okay, I've got to